Hello everyone. Now you will hear a brief retelling of the movie I Am Losing Weight. Enjoy the movie. Anya, a pastry cook in a small village in Russia, has a fantastic relationship with her boyfriend Zhenya, who works at a swimming pool and is fascinated with fitness. Anya appeared to be a supermodel when they first met. But, since then, she's been working at a bakery, and food has become an addiction for her. As the months pass, she noticeably gains weight, but Zhenya avoids bringing it up since he knows it's a difficult subject. Anya receives an invitation to a wedding one day, and she becomes anxious when she looks in the mirror and realizes how dramatically her physique has changed. When she tries on the outfits she owns, they don't fit, and several of them rip. After much trial and error, she finds one outfit that fits somewhat well and convinces herself that no one would notice the difference. Zhenya notices, and while he doesn't say anything, his countenance is clearly unhappy. Anya watches his reaction and becomes even more apprehensive, especially because all of Zhenya's fitness pals would be there as well. Anya says she doesn't want to attend the party and proposes a night of pizza and television instead. Zhenya allows her to remain, but he needs to go because this is a close friend, so he pledges to merely deliver his speech and return immediately. Zhenya lifts up Anya and places her on the counter to attempt to mask his distaste, but he pulls away when she tries to kiss him, which disturbs her. Anya changes into comfy clothing and weighs herself once Zhenya has left. She resolves to drink just water today after seeing her weight rise to 76 kilograms. Nonetheless, she ends up cooking fried food. When she checks her social media, she discovers photos from the wedding. Every female looks stunningly thin, which makes her feel terrible. To make matters worse, there's a video of a female kissing Zhenya on the cheek, despite the fact that he plainly stayed at the party. Anya becomes enraged and rushes to change for the wedding reception, phoning her closest friend Natasha to pick her up. Natasha realizes Anya has gained weight, but she makes no judgment. Instead, she believes Anya is attractive and encourages her to embrace herself. When Anya arrives at the party, she notices Zhenya dancing closer to the girl than friends should. Jealous, Anya rushes between them and kisses Zhenya, leading the girl to flee. Zhenya is plainly irritated but makes no reply. After the dance, the pair sits down to eat, and Anya wonders why Zhenya was so close to that girl, but he claims it was a group dance. Zhenya eventually admits he doesn't like her anymore since she's become a burden for him and that he's been thinking about breaking up with her all week due to her jealousy. An argument occurs, which is interrupted by the photographer and the bridal couple, so Anya tries to disguise her displeasure for the sake of the celebration. However, the bride is devastated as she wonders whether Anya is pregnant. Afterward, Zhenya properly breaks up with her and gets away, leaving Anya in tears. Anya leaves the party and boards the bus to see her mother, oblivious to the fact that she would have to travel the countryside in those heels. When she arrives, her mother, Olga, is on a date. Olga wishes her daughter and her lover would get along, but things are unpleasant, and Anya remains silent until the man departs. Anya tells Olga what occurred, and Olga points out that Anya isn't overweight, only has heavy bones, but this just worsens Anya's attitude. That night, Anya sleeps at her mother's house and can't stop gazing at images of Zhenya, even though he was a jerk. She also finds an old picture of herself, which doesn't help her mood either. Natasha asks Anya to stay at her home, which she shares with her husband Demas, the next day. Anya takes the bed on the balcony until she gets her own home because Zhenya came here last night to drop off all of her belongings. Natasha attempts to console Anya in order to help her forget and move on, but Alice simply pours her heart out, whining about her lover while confessing she wants him back. Demas attempts to assist as well, telling Anya she's gorgeous, but this just makes things worse because she knows he's being sweet as a bribe. Anya lies in bed for several days, unable to cope with her grief. Natasha has had enough one afternoon and tells the story of a friend who has also been rejected. Instead of sobbing all day, the buddy went to the gym and lost all of her excess weight in a month. When the boyfriend saw her again, he returned to her workplace with flowers to urge her to take him back, but she instructed him to shove those flowers up his behind. All of this is free if you use the 1-week free trial offered by every gym in the city. Demas interrupts their conversation with a bucket of water to compel Anya to wash her hands, causing her to chuckle for the first time in a long time. Later that day, Anya drinks merely a glass of water and resolves to try again. Unfortunately, her first visit to a gym is a total disaster. She has no idea how to use the equipment and keeps falling, leaving her terribly irritated, not to add the strain of seeing everyone else skinny and working out successfully. She ends up soothing herself with a lot of fast food by the time she's finished. Natasha notices this since she works at the restaurant and chastises her for her lack of dedication, tossing out her food before she has finished it. Natasha selects this opportunity to notify Anya that she will soon be relocating to Moscow, thus Anya must work hard in order to move on quickly. When Anya gets home, she applies a special cream on her belly and wraps it up since she heard it may help her lose weight. However, she continues to eat junk food while waiting for the technique to work. Natasha needs to intervene when her addiction causes her to wake up in the middle of the night to grab food from the fridge. It doesn't help that Anya works at a bakery. When she licks her fingers while decorating, she attempts to compensate by working out in the kitchen. She only has tea at lunch. She manages to keep herself under control for the remainder of the day by drinking plenty of water. But the temptation is too strong when she's left alone with a cake. Anya gives in and eats half of the cake by herself while weeping after much pacing and even damaging a bookcase. Anya, finally acknowledging the severity of her condition, seeks out an eating disorder self-help group. When she arrives for her first meeting, she is startled to learn that everyone is female save for one lad named Kolya. Anya gives them a fictitious identity and claims she's merely here as a journalist to do a story about eating disorders. People in the group dislike the usage of those phrases and being referred to as gluttons, thus a dispute ensues over which game sounds better. Suddenly, Kolya calls them out, claiming that everyone here, including himself, is overweight. He also explicitly calls Anya obese, leading her to pretend to get a phone call and leave the meeting in humiliation. Kolya follows her in his car, accusing her of lying and pointing out that she is oblivious to her condition. He also invites her to lunch with him, but she declines. Anya then walks to a restaurant, where Kolya also finds her. He spits out her juice while complaining about sugar, then offers that they be each other's fitness sponsors. They'll be able to exercise every day and get emotional support when they're tempted if they hold each other responsible. Anya is doubtful, but Kolya hands her his phone number and instructs her to contact him. When Anya gets home, she searches for Kolya on social media and realizes how hard he's working. The next day, Kolya arrives at Natasha's and invites Anya to join him for a run. Anya is reluctant to go, but Natasha insists. Anya feels ashamed to be seen with Kolya during their first few days together and does not want to work out much. Kolya, on the other hand, does not give up on her, and over time, Anya comes to rely on him. He's a really kind man, and watching him not be self-conscious about his appearance is incredibly inspirational. Kolya and Anya become close friends and are there for each other before every meal to offer support and empathy, making the process of losing weight less frightening and unpleasant. They develop a fitness program and even participate in marathons. Anya observes how people are fascinated with food in everyday life and how everyone wants to feed her, so she begins keeping track of the proteins, lipids, and carbs she consumes in order to improve her diet. She frequently packs healthy lunches to work and has frequent disagreements with Olga about food. Anya begins to lose weight and find confidence as a result of her efforts. However, Anya's confidence is frequently undermined when she is surrounded by slender females, particularly at pool parties. Kolya never loses up on her and always consoles her, teaching her how to scream to alleviate tension and revealing his secret location on the lake. But one thing hasn't changed: Anya still wants Zhenya back, even going so far as to leave a remark on Zhenya's social media, which makes Kolya envious. Natasha is also experiencing issues. She is always communicating with people from Moscow for business, which irritates Demas, therefore he is constantly planning ways to ruin the film. Anya has dropped enough weight in a month and a half to feel secure enough to visit Zhenya. She goes to the swimming pool where he works and pretends to accidentally run into him. Zhenya can't believe what he's witnessing, and the two resume speaking as if nothing has occurred, as well as playing in the water. They had a wonderful time together until the bridesmaid from the wedding arrives and Anya learns she's dating Zhenya. Anya breaks her habits to match her shattered heart and spends the night drinking and partying to forget. A guy expresses interest in her and departs with her. The following morning, Anya awakens in an unfamiliar bed, but it turns out to be Kolya's, and he claims nothing occurred between them. Anya returns to her mother to inquire for her father's phone number, eager to put this notion to the test. Olga offers it to her even though she believes it is a horrible idea because that man has harmed them both. Anya contacts her father, and after an unpleasant talk, he agrees to give her his address so she may pay him a visit. Then Anya searches her drawers for the jacket her father gave her before he left. Anya requests that Kolya take her to her father's house, and Kolya agrees provided Anya goes to cheer for him in his next race, something Anya does not enjoy. Because it's a lengthy journey, they make many stops to shoot selfies and have fun. Anya constantly pulls Kolya away when he attempts to wrap his arm around her seat. When they get to their destination, Anya finally meets her father, Sergey, and learns that he is living with a lady. Conversation at lunch is strained, and when they get a moment alone, Anya asks why her father isn't in her life. Sergey quickly points out that when he went to pay her a visit for her birthday, Anya sent him away by pointing through the window. Anya hands him the jacket and recalls how they used to dance together, but Sergey feels she's making him appear like a clown and walks away from the table. Anya subsequently drops a candle and unwittingly causes a fire that burns the house, the flames even catching on her back. Sergey shouts at Kolya for spoiling everything instead of being concerned about her daughter's injuries. Kolya rushes to her defense, but Annie chooses to return home. The return ride is silent and unpleasant. When Kolya puts Anya off at Olga's house, she thanks him by kissing him on the nose. Kolya believes his flirtation has been returned and is in a great mood all day, even exchanging his watch to purchase flowers for Anya. Zhenya subsequently pays Anya a visit and sends her flowers to apologize for everything. Anya is still susceptible to his charms, and they end up getting flirtatious. While they're distracted, Kolya arrives with his own flowers, but he sees them through the window and decides to leave to tend to his wounded heart. After their happy times are over, Zhenya remarks that their breakup was beneficial since it spurred Anya to lose weight. Anya realizes that Zhenya hasn't changed and that staying with him would entail living in continual terror of her own body, resulting in another breakup. Anya kicks Zhenya out, hurt but resolved not to go through this again. Later, Olga announces her engagement, and Anya sobs because she can't be as joyful as she is. Anya pays a visit to Natasha in the evening, who is hosting a party at her home. Natasha wants to talk about her troubles, but Anya isn't interested because she has her own issues to cope with. Suddenly, one of the partygoers hands Anya a pipe to hide, and Anya dumps it over the balcony, landing on top of a police car. When a cop arrives at their residence to arrest him for unlawful smoking, Natasha pays him to leave. That money was her final funds for a trip to Moscow, and Demas interprets it as a hint she shouldn't go. A fight erupts regarding their future plans, and Natasha shouts at her when she attempts to assist. Natasha is weary of being the responsible one since Anya has always relied on her but has never returned the favor. While Natasha and Demas continue to quarrel, Anya departs to meet Kolya at the Hidden Lake location, hoping for his support and consolation. Kolya, on the other hand, is enraged and tosses an apple at her, telling her that if she doesn't love herself, no one else would. He also cancels their sponsorship and advises her to find a new obese pal. After Kolya leaves, a gang of thugs surround Anya with their motorcycles, forcing her to flee in tears. She ends up sleeping in the center of the wheat camp. The next morning, Olga's boyfriend rescues Anya from being run over by a harvester, and Anya discovers he has a drinking problem. Anya then goes to meet Natasha, but no one opens the door. A neighbor hears her and lets her in via his window to Natasha's apartment. Anya apologizes for being a bad friend and invites her to Moscow because she deserves it. The girls spend their final afternoon together as a farewell. Later, Anya assists Olga's lover in getting rid of all his booze by lighting it on fire, and she then shocks Olga by demonstrating her acceptance of her upcoming marriage. The next day, Sergey visits Anya and apologizes for not attempting to be more involved in her life. He dances with her as they used to when she was a youngster to show how much he cared. Anya agrees to reconcile with him after being moved by the memories. When Sergey inquires about Kolya, Anya relates what transpired, and Sergey remarks that if they can reconcile, she can do the same with her buddy. Anya requests that Sergey drive him to the marathon and discovers Kolya ready to breach the rules by drinking some soda. Anya instantly takes it away and becomes the firm but kind sponsor he requires, pointing out that no one loves oneself as much as Kolya does, and that he should view himself as the inspiration he is. The pair ends up running the marathon together and finishing it after much struggle. Kolya is overjoyed and can't stop himself from kissing Anya. Anya doesn't mind because she's grown to admire Kolya's proud contentment in his life.